Hi friends, it's Technique Tuesday on September 7th, 2021. I'm going to show you how to make this fun interactive flip card. Isn't that cute? And it still opens up as a regular card for your greeting on the inside. So let me give you some measurements of what we're going to be using to make it. So you need a standard card base, which is 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4 and folded. Then you'll need a piece of patterned paper, and I'm measuring this one at 3.5 by 4 3/4 tall. And then you'll mat on top of that a piece that is 3 3/4 by 5. Don't glue them together yet. We've got a little work to do. This piece is 2 inches tall by 6 inches wide. That's important for our little tab pulley. And then you'll need a bunch of squares. So this one, these two can be the same color. So these would be what are the purple in this one here and match my tab. So these three, you want the same color. This one is 2 5/8 square, and this is 2 1/8 square. The 1/8 of an inch, I'm afraid, is a little important on this one. And then you can also put a piece of, I've got pattern paper here. I'm going to do this as a 2-step in here. So this is 2 1/8. I'm sorry, 2 1/4 square. And then I have this 2 by 2 piece. I didn't have a piece of pattern paper that was exactly the right size. So I've made a little mat for it. So as you'll see, this will be on the front of this new card. And it's just a little bit different than this one here. So once again, 2 by 2, 2 1/4 by 2 1/4, and 2 5/8 by 2 5/8. And then you'll need a piece of 1 5/8 square for the inside for your greeting. That goes on here like this. Okay, and you'll need a little bit of ribbon, but we'll get to that. All right, let's get started by doing a little scoring. You're going to take your 6 by 2. I'm going to push this out the way. You're going to take your 6 by 2 piece, put it with 6 inches across the top, and score at 2 inches and 2.5. That's it for scoring. And the next thing you're going to do is take your punch. I'm using the Delightful Tag Topper punch. This one, I first saw this technique done, it was with the scalloped tag topper punch. So if you have the scalloped tag topper, that will work too. So you slide the end in that is furthest away from the score lines. So here we scored at 2 and 2.5. And then this longer piece is the piece that's going into the punch. Push it in as far as it'll go. And you have a nice scalloped edge. That's not really, really important, but it's nice. It's a nice touch on this card, I think. Okay, let's set that aside. The next thing we're going to do is take out our designer series paper, and we're going to cut a little slit in it. Now, when this idea came around at the first time I had seen it, it used a punch we no longer have, which was the classic label punch. So I found a workaround using a die. There are 3 stamp sets that have a die that is suitable for this size. And this is the one I'm using from Beautiful Trees. All Dressed Up has a die as well, and stitched rectangles. The important thing is that it be at least 2 inches wide, so that you can slide the mechanism through, and not too much longer than 2 inches. So with the other measurements, you push the punch all the way in. So I've made a few little modifications. So using my ruler, I'm going to measure in at 1 5/8. I'm just going to put a little pencil mark there. And that is not going to show because I'm going to cut it out. So the pencil mark is going to land in the middle of my die. Okay, doesn't matter too much if you're even top to bottom. That part, it will be just fine. Okay, so you'll take your Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, or if you're like me and you have the little one, it will fit in there. And you'll slide your paper in, line up the die so that that 1 and 5/8 mark ends up right smack in the middle of it from the width of it. Move it back just a bit. There we go. And you're going to run that through. You have that punch, that'd be great too. If you do have that punch, super, you're all set and ready to go with it. Okay, so here's our piece. Now we're going to start putting the tab part together. So I'm going to first stamp on my little piece of white, the greeting trick or treat from the cutest Halloween stamp set. There we go. That's all the stamping for this card. I'm going to layer that onto the pumpkin pie that is just a little bit bigger at 2 1/8. You could layer this up a little bit more too if you wanted. You could put a piece of black in between if you like. The 2 1/8 is important because we're going to layer it onto here, and we want to make sure it's just a little bit bigger. All right, so let's fold our score lines on the tag. And it's the piece, you're going to situate it this way up with your tag to the right, and then your piece coming around like this. So we're going to glue on the piece that comes around over the top here. We're going to glue this edge to that score line. That's that 2-inch score line. Okay. Right, like that. So the easiest way is to actually put the glue onto the tag, because your piece of cardstock here is just a little bit bigger, which is good and which is necessary for this to work the way we need it to. Okay, and then you've still got that edge there. Let's put that piece together. So here's the 2 5/8. And then our little black piece that I'm going to put on there. Just going to wiggle it into place to be centered. That's what I love about liquid glue. And then I love the stripe, so I wanted it to be included in this. Let's get that together. Perfect. Okay, and then this is going to be attached on. So where you have the 2 score lines, that 1/2-inch piece, that's where you're going to put some tear and tape. Just going to put it down the length of that. And we're going to peel it off. Some scissors. There we go. Now, this mechanism piece is going to line up right here. So you see how this is going to work. We've just got that piece underneath, and we've got that piece coming through. All right. So let's actually feed it through first. Then we know where we're placing it. Just to get a hint there, right? So that's going to, I'll show it to you this way. This piece, the front, butts right up against this piece that we've put the tear and tape on. Okay, and it hides, you see how it hides the piece behind it? And we're going to seal that piece in place so the mechanism starts to work. Okay, take it out. And here is your inside piece. fold it over to the left, and along this edge, you're going to put some tear and tape. It's hard to see when it's all the same color, I realize. Hold it up for you to see. Okay, so here is our tag. There's our inside. There's our outside. On the back of the inside piece, on the outer edge, we put the tear and tape. We're going to peel it off. The scissors. Okay, now's the tricky part. You're holding it like this. You slide the scalloped edge through, and you turn the whole thing, scalloped edge through. You see why you don't want it to be too much bigger than the width it needs. And you're going to fold this over and center the large outer square from left to right. And then press it down. And then it will do this. How cute is that? All right, we're nearly there. On the front, I'm going to put the pre-punched out little pumpkin and the cat. So these guys were from the designer series paper in this set, and you can actually use the matching punch to punch out the pumpkin, the cat, and this is a ghost. Very cute punch. We're just going to put these guys on here as the front. Okay, it's coming together. All right, now grab that piece that you had of smoky slate, cardstock piece. It is 3 3/4 by 5, and we're going to glue this, put this down with dimensionals on the back of the DSP. Now don't touch that mechanism. Don't put any dimensionals around that or touching it, because it will impede it from doing what we've just set up. Okay. Pull the backing pieces off. Flip it over and center it on the cardstock. So what this does, by putting the dimensionals, it gives a little bit of space for this to happen. Okay. And then you're all set to go onto your card, just like that. And I'm going to glue this down with liquid glue. And I know it'll stay put. You could use dimensionals again, but it's probably a little bit extra. And the last little piece to do while we're waiting for that to dry is to grab some ribbon and feed it through here. I'm just going to cut a piece. There's a couple ways you can do this. You can tie it in a bow like I did on the last one, or you can staple it shut. Sorry, tighten a knot. What am I saying, bow? You can tie it in an overhand knot, which is what I did on this purple one, or you could staple it. The idea is that the person knows who's receiving it, that they need to pull the tab. So I'm just doing a double overhand knot here. I'm sure it has a fancier name than that. There we go. And then I can just trim off the edges of my ribbon. Okay, and here we go. Here is the flip card. How adorable is that? And you can still put a nice message or gift card or whatever you like on the inside. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Have a wonderful evening.